Hello, my name is Dani, and in this video I will try to briefly explain my bachelor thesis. The title of my bachelor thesis is Classifying Consciousness States through an arrow of time inspired framework. And the supervisors are Jonathan Sanf and Gustavo Deco from the Center for Brain and Cognition in the UPF. The initial motivation behind this work it was to study the differences between several consciousness states, and eventually it was decided to work with data from deep sleep and awake state. So in this thesis, the difference between awake and deep sleep in humans is studied. The main objective was to determine if it was possible to automatically distinguish or classify between these two consciousness states. For this, a computational neuroscience approach has been used, and two different methods have been applied. First, a model-free approach is used where the levels of non-reversibility of the brain time series are measured. And when I talk about brain time series, this is simply the functional MRI data of the brain. Then the second approach, it was a whole brain model um, where the previously mentioned levels of non-reversibility are fitted. This whole brain approach is performed using the generative connectivity of the arrow of time framework. And this framework allows us to obtain the GEC, the generative effective connectivity, which is basically a measure that includes functional and anatomical or structural information of the brain. We have worked with a dataset of 15 patients in deep sleep and 15 patients awake. We have been able to successfully obtain the GC for each patient in the two states. Using a support vector machine where the inputs were the GCs, we have been able to classify between awake and deep sleep with an accuracy of over 90%. Therefore, the initial objective of the thesis, which was to determine if it was possible to automatically classify different consciousness states, has been successfully accomplished. So, well, this has been the summary of my bachelor thesis. That you have enjoyed it.